First contact and rejection. The message arrived on a rainy Thursday in Geneva. For nearly 2 centuries, humanity had broadcast signals into the depths of space, hoping for a response. When it finally came, it wasn't through radio waves or binary code, but in the form of a massive vessel that appeared silently in Earth's orbit. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the command deck of the UN Defender, Earth's most advanced spacecraft, watching as the alien vessel dwarfed her ship like a whale beside a minnow. At 42, she had spent her career preparing for this moment, though the reality of it still sent chills down her spine. "Captain, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," Lieutenant Chen reported, his voice steady despite the circumstances. "They're requesting to speak with Earth's leadership." Within hours, the United Earth Council had assembled. Representatives from every nation gathered in Geneva's Grand Assembly, where a holographic projection of the alien delegation materialized. They called themselves the Galactic Confederation, a coalition of over 300 species spanning across 12,000 star systems. Their spokesperson, a tall, elegantly proportioned being with silvery skin and 4 arms, introduced himself as High Counselor Vextor. "We have observed your civilization for some time," Vextor said, his words translated through devices that had been provided to the human delegation. "Your technological progress has reached the threshold where formal contact is warranted. The Confederation welcomes potential new members." President Isabella Martinez stood before the alien delegation, her posture confident despite facing beings from across the stars. "We are honored by your contact and eager to learn about membership in your confederation." The terms were outlined over the next several days. The Confederation would provide technological assistance, protection from cosmic threats, and access to established trade routes. In exchange, Earth would need to accept certain restrictions: limited military development, controlled expansion within their solar system only, and adherence to Confederation technological standards. Captain Rice sat in on the briefings as the military advisor to President Martinez. She watched as the initial excitement of the delegates dimmed with each new restriction outlined by the Confederation representatives. "These aren't terms for members," she whispered to Dr. Aiden Nakamura, Earth's chief scientist. "These are terms for vassals." Dr. Nakamura nodded grimly. "They're offering us a cage, albeit a comfortable one." When the Confederation delegation retired to their vessel to allow Earth's leaders time to consider their offer, the real debates began. The Grand Assembly became a forum for heated discussions that lasted weeks. Some nations favored immediate acceptance, arguing that Confederation protection would ensure humanity's survival. Others balked at the restrictions, seeing them as thinly veiled attempts at control. Captain Rice was called to present her military assessment. "Based on our observations of their technology and what they shared about galactic threats, I believe the Confederation's protection offers advantages," she stated to the assembled leaders. "However, the restrictions on our development would leave us perpetually dependent. We would never be true equals." Dr. Nakamura followed with his own assessment. "Their technological path is not the only viable one. They've shown us glimpses of their science, and while impressive, it follows narrow paradigms. Humanity has often made breakthroughs by thinking differently, not by following established paths." After a month of deliberation, the United Earth Council reached a decision. President Martinez requested a formal meeting with the Confederation representatives. High Counselor Vextor returned with an entourage of aliens representing various Confederation species. Their expressions, at least on those whose faces humans could read, showed confidence, even smugness. "The people of Earth have carefully considered your generous offer," President Martinez began, her voice echoing through the Grand Assembly. "We are grateful for your contact and the opportunity you've presented." Vextor's silver skin rippled in what humans had learned was an expression of satisfaction. "However," Martinez continued, "we must respectfully decline membership under the terms presented." The ripples on Vextor's skin froze. The translator took a moment to process, as if struggling with an unexpected input. "Perhaps there is a misunderstanding," Vextor finally responded. "No species has ever declined Confederation membership. The terms are standard and non-negotiable. There is no misunderstanding, Martins replied firmly. Earth has decided to chart its own course among the stars. We welcome peaceful relations with the Confederation as equals, but we cannot accept the limitations on our development and exploration. The assembly room fell silent. Even the other Confederation representatives seemed stunned. This is unprecedented, Vextor said, and dangerous. The cosmos contains threats you cannot comprehend without Confederation guidance. We understand the risks, Martins responded. We accept them. Vextor stood taller, his forearms moving in complex patterns that the human delegation couldn't interpret. Your species acts from emotion rather than logic. This decision will lead to isolation and vulnerability. Captain Reyes stepped forward, speaking for the first time. Or perhaps to innovation and strength. Different paths are not automatically inferior paths, High Counselor. You will reconsider, Vextor stated, not as a question, but as a certainty. The offer remains open for one standard galactic cycle. When you face the realities of cosmic isolation, contact us again. As the Confederation delegation departed, their massive vessel moved to the edge of the solar system, where it remained, watching and waiting for humans to acknowledge their mistake. But Earth wasn't retreating. It was preparing. President Martinez addressed the world that evening. Today, humanity chose independence over submission. It will not be an easy path, but it is our path. We will accelerate our technological development, strengthen our defenses, and continue our journey to the stars, on our terms. Project Prometheus was initiated the next day, a global effort to develop technologies that diverged from Confederation standards. Dr. Nakamura led research teams across the planet, exploring alternative approaches to faster-than-light travel and energy production. Captain Reyes was promoted to admiral and tasked with expanding Earth's defense fleet. They expect us to fail, she told her officers during their first briefing. They expect us to come crawling back. Let's make sure that never happens. As the Confederation vessel continued its vigil at the edge of the solar system, humanity went silent. Communication arrays that had once broadcast eagerly to the stars now focused inward, sharing innovations between Earth's research centers. On the far side of the moon, hidden from the Confederation's watchful eyes, the first ships of a new type began to take shape. They weren't built to Confederation specifications. They were built to surpass them. The Silent Revolution. 20 years passed, a mere moment in galactic terms, but a generation of transformation for humanity. Dr. Kalindi Sharma, daughter of one of the original Prometheus Project scientists, stood in the observation dome of the Ganymede Research Station, watching as the experimental vessel Defiant prepared for its first interstellar jump. At 32, she had never known a world before the Confederation's offer and rejection. She had grown up in the era of humanity's silent revolution. Nervous? Asked Director Marcus Chen, son of the lieutenant who had first reported the Confederation's arrival. Excited, Kalindi replied, her eyes fixed on the sleek ship. If the Alcubierre Sharma drive works as projected, we'll reach Alpha Centauri in days, not years. Unlike the Confederation's standard Mass Effect propulsion, humanity had developed a space-folding technology that created temporary wormholes. The Confederation had deemed such research dangerous and inefficient centuries ago, abandoning it for their safer but slower methods. The Confederation observers have become more active recently, Marcus noted. 3 of their scout ships moved closer to Neptune last week. They're getting nervous, Kalindi smiled. 20 years with no distress call, no crawling back begging for help. We're not following their script. The test was a success. The Defiant disappeared in a flash of blue light and reappeared near Alpha Centauri 56 hours later. When the news reached Earth, celebrations erupted worldwide. Humanity had achieved faster interstellar travel than the Confederation's standard ships, and they'd done it their way. The Confederation's response was swift. 3 diplomats arrived on a small vessel, requesting an urgent meeting with Earth's leadership. Admiral Elena Reyes, now in her 60s but still commanding Earth's defense forces, sat beside President Omar Nkosi as they received the Confederation representatives in the New Geneva complex. "Your experiments with space-folding technology have been detected," stated Sub-Counselor Zexala, a descendant of the Vextor who had first contacted Earth. This research path was abandoned by the Confederation due to its destabilizing effects on subspace. Yet our tests show no such destabilization, Dr. Sharma replied confidently. "Perhaps your early experiments were flawed." The Confederation delegates exchanged glances. "We offer again the opportunity to join the Confederation. Your scientists would benefit from our guidance to avoid catastrophic mistakes." President Nkosi smiled politely. "We appreciate your concern, but our path." Minutes later, he stared at the message in disbelief. The Confederation, after 50 years of cold relations and occasional hostile actions, was requesting assistance. Within days, representatives from the Alliance Council, including Earth's President Anna Cheng, convened at Convergence Station. Across from them sat a delegation of Confederation officials, including Grand High Counselor Nexera, the highest authority in Confederation hierarchy. "We face a threat beyond our capacity to address," Nexera stated, the Confederation's typical confidence notably absent. "A quantum anomaly has formed in the galactic core, disrupting subspace communications across Confederation systems. Our attempts to neutralize it have failed." President Cheng studied the Confederation leader. "And you believe the Alliance can help? Your divergent technological path has produced approaches unknown to our science," Nexera admitted with obvious difficulty. "Particularly your work with quantum stabilization and space folding." Dr. Kalindi Sharma, now in her 80s and serving as Earth's science director, reviewed the data the Confederation had reluctantly shared. "The anomaly is similar to theoretical instabilities we encountered when developing our drive systems. We solved those problems 15 years ago." "Why come to us?" asked Xerval, the representative from the Navari. "After decades of dismissing our methods as dangerous and inferior." Nexera's skin dimmed, a sign of embarrassment or distress. "Because your methods, while different, have proven effective. The anomaly will reach Alliance space within 2 years if unchecked. This is a galactic concern, not merely a Confederation one." The Alliance Council deliberated privately after the Confederation delegation withdrew. "They wouldn't be here if they had any alternative," noted Teaser of the Xantalia. "Their pride has cost them dearly." President Cheng turned to Admiral Reyes. "Your grandmother often said that true strength lies in knowing when to help, even those who rejected you. What would she advise now?" Jamil considered this. "She would say that proving our worth isn't about withholding help when it's needed, but about offering it when we could justifiably refuse." The decision was unanimous. The Alliance would assist the Confederation, not for past slights, but for the galaxy's future. Over the next 6 months, Alliance and Confederation scientists worked together for the first time. The cultural shock was palpable. Confederation researchers struggled with the Alliance's collaborative, innovative approach, while Alliance scientists were frustrated by Confederation bureaucracy and rigid thinking. Dr. Arjun Sharma, Kalindi's son, led the Earth team working on the anomaly problem. "The solution isn't to counteract the anomaly," he explained during a joint session. "It's to harmonize with it, to create a resonance field that stabilizes rather than opposes." "Impossible," declared the Confederation's chief scientist. "Quantum anomalies cannot be harmonized with. All standard protocols are clearly not working," Arjun interrupted. "Perhaps it's time to try non-standard approaches." Despite resistance, the Alliance plan was implemented. Using a combination of technologies from multiple species, Navari materials, Centellia quantum algorithms, human space folding principles, and even adapted Confederation energy systems, they constructed resonance generators around the anomaly. Admiral Reyes commanded the joint fleet that deployed the generators. All units in position. He reported as ships from both the Alliance and Confederation held formation around the anomaly. Initiating resonance sequence. For tense hours, the generators pulsed in carefully calculated patterns, creating a harmonic field that slowly, steadily stabilized the quantum disturbance. Where Confederation attempts to forcibly close the anomaly had failed, the Alliance approach of working with the fundamental properties of the phenomenon succeeded. When the anomaly finally collapsed safely, shears erupted across both Alliance and Confederation channels. It was the first collaborative victory between the two galactic powers. And it changed everything. 3 months later, a formal summit was held on Earth, the first time Confederation leadership had set foot on the planet since the original rejection 50 years earlier. In the same Grand Assembly where humanity had once declined Confederation membership, a new galactic accord was signed. Remains our own. Earth is not interested in membership under the terms previously offered. You should be aware, Admiral Rice added, that Earth is no longer alone in its independence. This statement visibly unsettled the Confederation representatives. Over the past decade, human exploration vessels had encountered other species who had either rejected or been rejected by the Confederation. The Niveri, methane-breathing engineers from a dense planet, had developed remarkable material sciences. The Xentalia, a hive-minded species, excelled at quantum computing approaches the Confederation had never explored. Together with 6 other independent species, they had formed the Alliance of Free Worlds, a cooperative rather than directive interstellar organization. Member species shared innovations while respecting each other's sovereignty and unique development paths. Such alliances of unguided species are unstable and dangerous, Zexila warned. Without proper oversight, technological disasters are inevitable. Yet none have occurred in 20 years of independent development, Admiral Rice countered. Perhaps oversight and guidance are not synonymous, Sub-Counselor. After the Confederation representatives departed, Admiral Rice turned to President Kosi. They're not just concerned anymore. They're afraid. As they should be, the President replied. The Alliance now controls 37 star systems, and our combined technological progress is accelerating faster than their projections predicted. The Confederation's next move proved Admiral Rice right. Within months, Alliance members reported attempts at sabotage, mysterious equipment failures, corrupted data streams, even a few targeted attacks on research stations. At an emergency Alliance summit, representatives from all 8 species gathered on the neutral station, Convergence, built in a star system equidistant from all Alliance territories. The Confederation has moved from observation to active interference, declared Tuzur, the hive speaker for the Xentalia. 3 of our quantum processing centers have been compromised. Similar reports came from other Alliance members. The Niveri had lost a prototype materials lab. The Dreth had detected infiltration attempts in their planetary defense systems. Kalindi Sharma, now heading Earth's Defense Research Division, proposed a solution. We've been developing a distributed network architecture that's resistant to outside interference. If we implement it across all Alliance systems, we can create a unified defense while maintaining our individual approaches to technology. The proposal was adopted unanimously. For the first time in galactic history, 8 distinct species collaboratively built a defense system that protected their independence while strengthening their cooperation. The Alliance continued to grow. Within another 5 years, 3 more species had joined, including, most shockingly, the Merrill, a species that had been part of the Confederation for over 3 centuries before breaking away, inspired by the success of the Alliance. Alliance ships now traveled faster, communicated more securely, and explored more efficiently than their Confederation counterparts. The technological divergence was becoming impossible to ignore throughout the galaxy. On the 30th anniversary of Earth's rejection of Confederation membership, humanity launched its most ambitious project yet, the first human colony outside the solar system. The world was called Nova Terra, orbiting a stable star 40 light-years from Earth, using the advanced Alcubierre-Sharma drive. Colonists would arrive in less than a month, a journey that would have taken years using Confederation technology. As the colony ships departed from Earth orbit, The Confederation observation vessels that had maintained their vigil for 3 decades finally withdrew. Their report to Confederation High Command was stark. Humanity had not failed. They had thrived, and they had changed the galactic equation forever. The Reckoning. 50 years after Earth's fateful decision, the galaxy had transformed. The Alliance of Free Worlds now comprised 23 species across 112 star systems. Their cooperative approach to research and development had led to technological advances that the more rigid Confederation struggled to match. Admiral Jamul Reyes, grandson of the original Admiral Lelina Reyes, commanded the Alliance flagship Ascendant as it patrolled the borders between Alliance and Confederation space. At 38, he had grown up hearing stories of the Confederation's arrogance and his grandmother's role in humanity's independent path. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission from Confederation space," his communications officer reported. "It's coded as an emergency request." Jamil frowned. "Verify and authenticate. Today marks the beginning of a new era," President Cheng declared. "Not of dominance or submission, but of genuine cooperation. Different paths can lead to the same destination, and sometimes to better ones." Grand High Counselor Nexera, humbled by recent events, spoke next. "The Confederation recognizes that our approach to galactic unity has been flawed. We sought to guide by controlling, rather than to support through collaboration. The Alliance has shown us another way. The Galactic Concordat established new principles for interstellar relations. The Confederation would no longer impose technological or expansion restrictions on its members. The Alliance would share its innovations. Both organizations would respect the sovereignty and unique development paths of all sentient species." As the ceremonies concluded, Admiral Reyes found himself speaking with an elderly Confederation official who had been present at first contact 50 years earlier. "I never imagined this outcome," the official admitted. "When your species rejected our offer, we were certain you would fail or return begging for admission. Instead, you forced us to reconsider principles we had held for millennia." "That's the thing about humans," Jamil replied with a smile. "We don't just think outside the box. Sometimes we throw the box away entirely and build something better." As the sun set over Geneva, humanity celebrated not just a victory, but a vindication. They had taken the harder path, the uncertain path, and in doing so, they had changed the course of galactic history. What had begun as a rejection had led to a revolution, proving that sometimes the greatest achievement isn't in accepting the established order, but in having the courage to imagine and create a better one. The Galactic Council had miscalculated badly when they underestimated humanity, and the reckoning had transformed the stars themselves.